Alright, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. As always, muchas gracias to everyone for everyone's words, wishes, prayers, as the love and support everyone shares and sends my way. From the heart, muchas gracias. Also, do please like, share, subscribe, and hype the video to help this message get out there a little bit further. Thank you. Well, everyone, today's gonna be a real quick one. I've been asked recently to touch on El Marro or do a profile on him, right? And I said I would, but on a different note, with I haven't touched on his profile, there was a lot of things we were doing out there in Guanajuato, right? As you guys recall, we got busted out there, and to our surprise, it's that prison belongs to norteños. It's just straight up, right? It belongs to all norteños, and with this, I'm not saying they flexed on us, they tripped on us, or none of that, right? We already knew they were deep because we had gone back and forth and to do some deals, right, with certain things. We'll just say they have cheaper things that we could trade back and forth, right? Every time we went out there, we dealt with norteños. Always respectful, always humble. Nothing that the active norteños and sureños would think it would happen, right? Again, there's bigger things. But, anyways, I want to talk about the time we got busted. Well, one of them, you know, this time we were actually busted only for, shortly. Remember, we barely hit población, right? Well, GP, what you guys would know it as. But anyways, we went out there and we went up their strap because we just didn't trust the state. They had some things happen in Guadalajara, going towards Guanajuato, La Luz de Capilla de Guadalupe, and these other little towns around Guanajuato, right? And we didn't know if they would be out there, to start off things, because but things went bad. It really went bad. So, anyways, we ended up getting busted for an individual that went and picked us up. They called him Payaso. Homie was all tatted up like a clown, and he had norte across his neck. And like I said, he was firmes though. I want to clarify, not once amongst us doing our thing did Sur Norte came up, right? It was what it was. You are what you is, and you don't mention it unless you're gonna buck up, boogie on it, right? If you mention it, it's because you already lace up, boot up, and you were gonna boogie, handle business. Other than that, it was what it was. It's like LA, right? Let's just go back to LA. I know there's a lot of homies that don't like each other on the streets, right? But you might get sent to your enemigos neighborhood. They're not gonna get at you foul, and you're not gonna get them foul. You're gonna get business done across the board, and gracias y ahí te ves, right? Anyways, I guess the homie payaso he had heat on him, and for whatever reason, I guess I don't want to get too graphic, but there was some hyena that was working with the guachos, trying to give pinpoint, because even though they were under el marro, the marro didn't really have that jugo like that, with the Marines and the guachos at least. So they discovered her, and they made it a point, right, for people that see too much, not to speak too much, and they made it a point in her mascara, right, and then they hanged her and left her somewhere where she was gonna be noticed. So, anyways, it was again, everybody's telling everywhere, right? So they were looking for the homie and a few other vatos, but that day the homie was with us, and we got stopped. As we get stopped, we brought from Sinaloa some soda, right, to get his we'll get double his price in different stuff that's better out there, in Guanajuato. You guys get what I'm trying to say. They make better chicharron, just being honest. So, but a sureño has a rule. At this moment, it ain't about sur, norte, who you getting busted with, who they stopping you with. Is you staying true to what you are. And we have a rule ever since we get busted in CDC. We don't admit to nothing. We don't deny nothing. It is, I got put out on yards of norteños because even though my record stated right, they still mess with me in that aspect that, oh, you're for Sonoma County. Oh, cool. So you're cool with norteños. I'm just getting off the yard over a riot, right? My responsibility is always, I'm Mexican. You could put me out wherever you need to put me out. I get along with anybody. Same with Celia. One time they put in my cell that, well, we shouldn't have been celled up at the time. But we both let it happen, let him close the door, and we start touching every tip of the cell, right? Doing what we had to do as band, right? So, anyways, as we get busted, what they do in Mexico, they trying to start that intimidation, right? And it's not like the states. Good cop, bad cop, they're all bad cops. Period. Point blanks. You gotta watch them, cause keep your elbows next to your ribs. I'll just tell you that much. Cause they start hitting you upside the head with the long guns, the ribs. They start. They're gonna stomp you in. Period. Right now, at this point, I don't know if it's a setup, right, or a test for us. Cause this was directed by Evil, right, from Chiquis. He had already tested me twice, right? And I got in my butt both times good. And it was just, hey, drink this, laugh it off, it'll go away, right? The trancazos, they only sting when they're giving them to you. Don't even trip. So, it wasn't though, because they took us in. Now, all of a sudden, we're in Guanajuato and we're in the Pinta and they're trying to charge us, all four of us in Payaso with the 187 of this individual, this woman, right? Narcomenudeo and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? Possessing guns that only military should have had, well, a whole bunch of stuff, right? And I don't know if you guys have came out to a patio in Mexico, right? It's not like when you walk out on GP in the States. You walk out on GP in the States, pushing your stuff, carrying your stuff with a couple juras, and they take it to your cell. This is gonna be your cell. This, and that. That's not how Mexico works. First and foremost, we already knew once we get busted, we have nobody's gonna visit us. You gotta spread your hustle. Get yourself a blanket, something to stop the cold, and pick up a hustle, right? So as we're going through there with the little blanket or whatever, all we're seeing across the yard is norteños. Nothing but norteños. I'm talking about, man, as far as you could see norteños. Because in Mexico, you could wear your civilian clothes, right? And I turn around and I tell the homie Chivo that was with us that day, rest in peace. I told him, damn, we gotta sit down and really analyze what's this. And we gotta get off first. We can't remember the orders we received in Separos, right? Which was there's not an active war with them, you know. But in my head is, man, I'm gonna wait for them to okey doke me and ram through me, or I'm gonna hack down it, and at the same time, they're gonna ram through me regardless. Plus, I'm gonna be in bad standing, so I guess Chivo's advice was the best, right? Which is just watch each other's back and allow things to happen. But now, nothing like that happened. The minute we sat down, a whole bunch of older vatos from Califas and a few from Texas that were norteños. They got there and they asked us, you're the ones that got busted with paya? Yeah, where you guys at? And then we told them we're in Trujillo 3. Okay, okay. Well, right now we're gonna get something for you guys together and then we'll go up in there. So I said, all right, feed me. Keep in mind at all times, I'm keeping my guard up. I have a fierro I should not have on me, be honest with you. Because in my mind is, are we gonna get done? I'm gonna at least scratch a couple of them, you know what I mean? Before they take me out. And I know I'm wrong, but you know, anyways, when they came back, they brought back a Willa from Evil, where he was assuring us these camaradas we work hand in hand with, all that SN trip, you guys are not even to speak on it. Just pretend he's your enemigo from a different hood, but you're running together in the pen. And that made sense, because we have to do that everywhere we hit CDC or the state or the feds. They took us to a cell. They gave us everything. We're talking about blankets, clean sheets, pillows, food, hygiene. What size of shoes are you here? Because we had flaps, just normal shower flaps, right? They gave us shoes, sock, ropa, and it was just one of the eye openers I speak to you about. A lot of people talk about where did you start seeing norteños different. Oh, it started in the shoe, definitely. But in the shoe, it was still doors open. We're gonna buck up. We're gonna boogie. Vamos a bailar un poquito tango and stuff. To working with norteños on the streets, different states in Mexico, to hitting a joint that belonged to them. I'm talking about it belonged to them. Nothing got done in that joint without going through to norteños first. We're very comfortable. Probably one of the most comfortable prisons we hit in Mexico. Because after that, it was Puente Grande and it was different, right? But the time we're there, our objective was to get out. We wanted to be back in the movement. We wanted to report. Evil knew where we were at, but you catch a lot of time in a Mexican prison. You recognize it or not, you become dead weight. Little by little, you're gonna be faded out. So all four of us that were there were camaradas, so we knew how things work, right? So we would end up talking to this individual that his placazos, it's weird, it's G Roach, but I'm not lying, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. That's his placazo, right? And he told us, look, I could get you out. And then we told him we can't pick up feria here. Now I don't even trip. You guys got access to this, and that. I'll get you out. I want three of them things, 3 blocks. Now, since you've been here, we've been keeping our palabra with you guys. On open is the same. We all set Simon, right? Let's boogie, vámonos. I swear to you, within hours we were out. And we had him in the car. We went to his highness house. We left not three of them, but four of them. We paid our respects. We checked in. We told him what had happened. And Evil straight up told us, you know what? F the material. Get back to Culiacan. He wanted us to go to Durango. And I said, we got to check into Culiacan because there was a quick mission right after this. So he said, check in over there and then check back in with me. I didn't want to get busted in Durango again, you know. But as we're leaving Guanajuato, there was a big shootout with we'll just say norteños and a truck of Marines. You know, we called it in, and Evil's exact word, Evil was a hog. You people want to believe it or not, Evil was a hog. You know, he didn't give up. He was about his business. You guys got arms? Yeah, stop. Eliminate them. Help the norteños get on your way. Let them get on their way. So we got down. We did what we had to do, and we split. You know, which later on it would flare up, but this time it was more with Daryl because Daryl had also had things going on in Guanajuato that he wasn't discussing with Evil nor Evil with him. You guys get the power struggle trip, right? But at this time, I felt I told a story of without having to badmouth nobody, right? And just touch on things too that someone told me, you know, everything was bad. No, there's good people in Mexico. Like I said, Guanajuato, San Norteño State is where we've been more comfortable at doing time, doing moves. They were all working for the marro, as you guys will see later on. But anyways, everyone, I thought I would share this so you guys see my perspective when you guys ask me how you feel about norteños now. A lot different than when I was a kid. A lot different. I grew up with hate, lots of hate. And you guys would hear on how I picked up my life sentences, right? But throughout the years, things ain't what they are or what they get put out to be. I know a lot of people ain't happy with this peace treaty that's happening. And you know what? Maybe in California it's happening for all the wrong reasons. but it's ricocheting in the Fed, outside of state, in Mexico, and believe me, that's good, at least for us as camaradas. But if you want me to continue with on the house, do please let me know. I just thought I would drop something tonight. Send my love to everyone. Stay true to yourself and loyal to your loved ones, everyone. God bless.